Hey everyone, this episode we're going to talk about why mental health is such a big issue right now. I'm going to cover 3 videos. What I want to do is introduce you to teachers, because the biggest thing I want to do at Live Fit to Thrive is teach you about how you actually work. All right, instead of being a doctor. Now let's spend our lives not needing doctors, because I don't, and that's the best thing that I've done. I've spent 30 years learning how I work, and I love not having to go to the doctor. Frees me up. Also, I just don't live in the pain that other people do, because I can fix it myself. Why? Because if you get to know it, you'll find out what doctors are trying to achieve, okay? And you'll do it, so you don't need to go to the doctor, yeah? But that's a whole other thing. Now, I'm not a doctor. I want to introduce you to how you work, because that isn't changing. You are what you are. Let's learn to accept who we are, and let's get into how we can support our minds, because our minds are insanely complex, all right? So I've got 3 main questions here, and that's what these videos really are talking about. And all day I find different videos that are amazing, so I thought I'd share a few. So the first question is, what is mental illness really like? So I grew up with mental illness around me, only found out about it when I was about 8, and that was quite dramatic. But it means I've been aware of it in a way no one else seems to have been until more recently. So now it's the first time I've ever told everyone. I've had to occasionally tell people because you get used to having to tell people. But now I've noticed you can talk about it the way it is, as though it's cancer or heart disease. It's not the big stigma it was, and trust me, you've never mentioned it. So now you can. And people are realizing there's no support whatsoever. People say, oh, there's also support. I'm like, no, you couldn't talk about it, and they didn't know what they were doing. They were doing the best. So anyway, what's it really like? I've got a video on that. Then emotional regulation. Is it any use? Yeah, I find it massively helpful. So got a video on that, and it's fantastic. Really, really like it. So we'll just jump to that in a bit. And then, why is there so much bias in research and therapy? There's huge bias. There's bias in everything. And what I'm trying to do here for Fit to Thrive is open your minds up to what's really going on in the whole of you. Because even when they talk about holistics, they seem to be talking about, let's just give them supplements. So they're pills. That's what they give you. They give you all these other things that they're pushing, whereas I'm just pushing education. Okay? It is your life. You will suffer if you get it wrong. You'll benefit if you get it right. And I've suffered plenty by getting it wrong, but long term, I got it right. So don't get it so bad you can't recover from. It's little principles like that. That's all you need to do. But the information's out there. And today, it's just wonderful. It's everywhere. I can find stuff I wish I had decades ago. So let's get into it. First thing I want to talk about was metabolic mind. Absolutely brilliant. Okay, so again, we'll talk about it later in bias. There's plenty of bias here. However, you've got a specialist. When you have a specialist, it's like if anyone's got into medical stuff, my word, will you find that that is not a whole human. They're only trying to fix people, which is fantastic. But you remember, if you go to the garage to get your car fixed, yeah, they didn't make the car. They know how to fix it. They know how to fix lots of kinds of car, but they don't make the cars. Yeah, there's only so much they know. That's fine. You're not bothered. You want it fixed. Yeah? It's the same in medicine. They're just fixing you. They do not know everything. And medicine puts itself too high up, but equally people do. You've got to realize there are patterns that you can do that live in a way where you won't have issues. Now, what's beautiful in this is you have someone who's suffered, who's openly talking about it, which is brave. And she's getting the support and therapy that she needs there, as in no judgment. However, when I watch through, I'm thinking I see a list of things that all lead to mental health problems. Why? Because when I studied it, having come from a family with mental health issues and having spent plenty of time in wards visiting my mum, who had serious mental health issues, I could see that there's loads more that's in there. And they told me about it. And they said, well, if you don't sleep for long enough, you will lose your mind. There's all sorts of stuff in there. So all these things that you need to do to keep yourself healthy, they apply to absolutely everything. So in fixing one issue, you can fix another. But I'm not telling you how to fix it. That's key. I'm not your doctor. I'm not responsible for any of that. I'm not legally responsible, okay? I'm just a human being thinking, how do I get on with my life? I don't want to go to the doctor. I want to go and play and have fun. And that's what I do. And it's taken a long time to get there because there's so much confusion. Here, what you've got is a human being talking about what it's like. And I had the benefit of that. obviously quite often, because I saw so many different people who now you could say the mental health challenges they faced. But it's normal. Just like people breaking their legs, just like, I mean, it's harsh, sorry to say it, but, sprain your ankle, whatever. Some are simpler than others. But now, in time, with mental health, we'll get to the point where we are with physical health, because I'm seeing wonderful things happening. But this is a beautiful example of someone talking and just being open, and listen to it. Let it teach you. Don't think this is all the fix. They're talking metabolic issues. Really good. But don't worry too much. Just listen, learn. So let's jump to the next one. We've got The Life-Changing Skill of Emotional Regulation by Dr. Mark Brackett. It's on the Chris Williams show, and I'm loving it. I didn't know too much about Chris beforehand, but like people come up and you think, oh no, actually this is really good. Emotional regulation. I come from a family that had no idea how to deal with it. So it's been wonderful seeing all the stuff we have these days. What I find is I am really thankful for all the people who've taught me how, little ways to regulate my emotions. And I say that because I found going to work was actually the best thing for me, because at school I got nothing, it's harsh. But at work, actually, I found it a wonderful place, because you could ask people and say, how do you stay so calm? I'd freak out in that. And it's nice to be able to say those things, because those are quite normal things to say. And at work, it was because I'm the geek, I do that kind of thing. So I'm used to being called all those words and whatever. But it was being around a guy that was sales. And so I was the engineer. I've gone that route. So a lot of what I do doesn't get seen. Everything he does gets seen, or he's loud, and he has to be. And I just said, how do you deal with this? And he just showed me. And it was just, there's loads of situations. And I've had it from someone else before that, actually, in a help desk. She really, really helped, because she worked in planes. She worked in aviation. She was an air steward. And she did a fantastic job of helping me understand. And the people around me, we went on this course, and it was how to say no. It's fantastic. And there were loads of things basically about ways to manage a call when someone's coming in and is annoyed and whatever with you because you're mucking it up or something like that, or they've had a bad day. It was how to not take it personally. It was fantastic. It completely changed the game for me. And I found work has been wonderful for that, if you take it in that way. And each company I work for has been fantastic, because it's an opportunity to learn. And so often it's possible for you to get it wrong in front of someone and really get it wrong. And then say, you meet them afterwards, because you don't know beforehand you're going to get it wrong. And then you say, I'm so sorry. And they're like, yeah. Once you said sorry, they're like, oh, we all get stuff wrong. And then they'll tell you about how they got it wrong, and they got it way worse than you. And it's like, fine. So you bond. And then you're like, fine. I'm so sorry. And they're like, don't worry about it. The second you apologize, it all became easier. And so I just find people who can teach you about emotional regulation are absolutely worth the gold, anything you pay them. But they need to be good, obviously. So I've had so many. Some I'm just working with as colleagues. They weren't like teachers coming into a place. They were just showing me. One of them was specifically with the boss. It was like, you've got this really tough boss. How'd you deal with it? And he said, no, I just go in there and I explain, do we do lots of work or do we do good work? Yeah, it was blunt. And he said it. I thought, brilliant. So I tried that and it worked, because it taught me how to say, are we here to do lots of stuff and just throw it out? Or do we do quality work the best we can with the resource we've got? And then every manager, you put it on the plate of them. And the managers went, thank you for asking me, because finally I can manage you, because you keep saying no. And I started to basically I was raised a workaholic who had to be perfect. That kind of pattern, and seeing that pattern, people helped me break it down and go, right, I was getting in my way. Okay. So this wonderful video just open you up to, there are teachers out there now that you can say emotional regulation. I would like some help with that, because I always wanted that. And I'm working on with my kids. I play with them a lot and allow them, and I teach them how what they're doing is completely normal, but was that the best response? Normal stuff. I let them be kids. Say, no, you're going to do it when you're older like this. So what would be the best thing, and how should you treat each other? I let them practice, because I wasn't. I grew up alone, so there was no one to practice with. People who have other people around all the time, they learn this stuff. I never got to. So it's always been obvious to me that I needed practice, but where'd you get this? So anyway, if you ever look into this, it's wonderful. It's really nice. And there are so many out there. So many videos like this that I see. So links are going to be in the description for all this stuff. Okay. So that is emotional regulation. Okay. So the next one we've got is Why is there so much bias in research and therapy? Well, here we go. Everything's biased, all right? You can talk about it with music, TV, and the trends that go on. You'll notice all the biases. The same thing happens in research. It's just an industry, and it's just a bunch of people making choices, okay? So you'll find that research and therapy completely biased all the time. So it actually is really important for you to learn how to direct and ask the questions to get all the support you need, not just bits. Basically, what people get all the time is a bit of support that they need, but not all of it. So therefore, they relapse. Because that's all that happened in my family, both my mum and my sister. They didn't get all the support they needed. They got some. That's not going to help. And it was the same for me. I mean, I've had my little issues and stuff. And well, like I say, when I went out to work, I've noticed that I can use that. I can use normal life in the way to say, well, I need to be the best I'm going to be. I'm going to get it wrong. And I just work little bits here and there. And normally you will find people that you can talk that out with. Sometimes they've got it wrong in front of you and you go, yeah, I've done that. Or the other way around, you apologize and they're like, don't worry about it. And then you can talk about it. And there are just times that you can grow and learn. And you can put yourself in situations where you're actually able to grow. So much it is about learning not to take yourself too seriously. It's hard, but around the right people. Because I didn't always have the right people where I could just be me a bit more, and also, yeah, given the background I'm sharing there, it's like my story always goes too far. So everyone else just has this normal thing and they're used to being able to go, oh, they're completely normal. I'm like, no, the reasons I have are because my mum was sectioned and was given electroconvulsive therapy and stuff like that. She described what it was like, and the stories are always like that. The stories end up with, and that's when the police left. It's like I don't have normal stories that everyone will talk about because I wasn't going to football matches or other things that people did because I was visiting my mum in the hospital. There's differences. Now, lots of people go through that. They go through it for cancer. They go through it for other things. So I find it much more helpful for me to have that. I'm just normal. I've just had that very different life. And people weren't there for me in the way they should. And everyone I meet now, they're not getting the support they need for the challenges they face. So here with the bias, the point is, watch the video. It's a really good one. It's called Taboo Topics in Clinical and Academia Settings. Right, boring title, but the links will be in the description. But the point is it highlights, if you did not know how biased all research is, you need to know. Because all I see is when people say stuff, I'm thinking, you don't know? I can't remember not knowing this. Because when I was 8, it was very clear to me. And I have been made aware. I mean, in my family, we were well aware of the biases that are around in the world. It's the funny thing. We were well aware of the biases, but we didn't know how to fix these things. So once you start to understand that there's bias everywhere, it helps you understand you need to see the whole. And then you can see where you fit and what you need. And when you find out what you need, you can go, because once you can verbalize it, you can find the teacher, because that's kind of what Google and YouTube and all these things are about. Once you have the right word, you can find the right teacher and say, is that the right teacher for me? Because there should be a lot. And there are. And then you can say, oh, am I getting the right support? Because it's not your fault that it's all biased. It's not really anyone's. It just is the way it works. But knowing there's more out there and that you can now find it is so empowering. So that's what I wanted to show you there. That's a shallow dive. That is a very tiny dive into the research that's out there, the knowledge and all sorts. So I thought I will cover three things in here very much because there's so much I want to share, and hopefully I'm sharing it better. Hopefully it's more engaging because I keep doing terrible videos. But I have needed teachers like this all of my life, and now they're everywhere. Well, I bet you do. Because I've got so many things I want to show you. They're all little snippets of help, all little snippets of teaching. I'm thinking, where were you? Where were you? Where were you? I've been saying that for years. That's all I've got. Okay, and I bet you have. So what I want to know, to be honest, is when have you wished you had more support for mental health? I've wished it so often, and I've had to figure it all out myself. It's not good enough. So there's stuff out there, but put it in the comments. Let me know. Okay. Also, what resources would you share to someone else who is suffering? Okay. What would you? Because I bet you've got loads of ideas. Because to be honest, all I ever do is listen to other people, as I'm much more a listener than a talker, which is why I'm so bad at this. Okay. I will just listen because that's actually incredibly helpful. I'm really good at having the answer. Why? Because I listen. So please put them in the comments. Let me know, because I want to share them, because the more we can help mental health, more of a difference we will make to the whole of society, because we'll all just live a lot happier. Because I find when I work on my mental health and emotional health, I see as connected, but I'll talk about that some other time. I feel I've actually covered this. I think maybe I've got somewhere decent. This is good. Another thing you can do to really help me is, how could I improve these videos? Like this particular video, what would have made it better? Probably being more succinct. I've practiced a bunch and I'm still this bad. But and what could help? What should I focus on? What would make a difference? How could I do a better job? But also, what have you enjoyed about it? What have you liked? You probably haven't even got to this far. If you have, thank you. So like, subscribe, if you want more of these, because I'm just going to do some reviews. The whole of you is really important to understand. So this is just the mind, just an entrance to the mind. Okay. Lovely talking to you. Tell me what you like in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Love you guys. Bye.